Our spine has natural curves. These are thoracic kyphosis and cervical and lumbar lordosis. In this way, it has the shape of the English letter S, which allows it to absorb impact loads. This curvature forms as soon as we begin to walk. However, if the body is positioned incorrectly in space, for example, as we age we may develop a large abdomen that pulls us forward and shifts the center of gravity relative to the axis of the spine. Then excessive arching occurs in the lower back. This can not only cause discomfort in the lumbar region but also become a serious cause of many disorders of the musculoskeletal system and internal organs. Hello everyone, today we will talk about hyperlordosis. It is quite easy to determine. It is best to stand in front of a mirror. Find your iliac crest. This is the protruding bone at the front of the hip. Place a finger on it, and from the back place a finger on the upper part of the gluteal muscle. By the way, it is noticeable as the line where the buttock transitions into the back. Visually draw parallel lines through these 2 points, and if you connect them, the angle between them should be small, around 7 to 10 degrees. If the angle visually exceeds 15 degrees, this indicates excessive lordosis. It is clear that you can get overly focused on these angles. There is a simpler way to determine whether you have hyperlordosis. Place one palm at chest level and the other at pelvic level. And with correct pelvic positioning, the lower palm will be directly under the upper one. With hyperlordosis, the lower palm will be shifted inward. Even easier is to look at yourself from the side. The pelvis will protrude significantly backward. The abdomen will protrude forward. And this will be clearly visible. By the way, many cases of hyperlordosis are caused by weakness in certain muscles and excessive tension in others. Therefore, it can often be corrected quite simply with exercises. So, with incorrect pelvic positioning, the rectus abdominis muscle is weak and overstretched. This is also easy to see visually, since we already know where it is located. The iliac crest is at a large distance and shifted backward relative to the lower ribs of the thoracic region. This may actually be the main reason why the abdomen protrudes forward and cannot be drawn in or kept flat. The gluteal muscle is also overstretched and weak. Due to the position of the pelvis, it is in a relaxed and elongated state. Visually, for girls, this may of course look somewhat attractive. But a butt sticking out backward has nothing in common with the beauty of strong, well-developed glutes. Most importantly, it is not healthy for the spine at all. Meanwhile, the iliopsoas muscle of the abdomen is tight and shortened. Its main function, by the way, is hip flexion. We will understand later why this is important. With a fixed pelvis, this muscle tilts the torso forward. And here many people fall into a trap. It would seem that with hyperlordosis the abdominal muscles are weak. What does that mean? Correct. You need to train your abs intensely to fix everything quickly. So you start lifting your legs while hanging on a machine supported by your elbows or raising your knees while hanging from a bar. And then there is that mandatory ab exercise for everyone. Fix the legs and, through a full range of motion with the lower back lifting off the floor, repeatedly raise the torso. But in exactly these exercises the already shortened iliopsoas muscle works maximally. As a result, hyperlordosis increases and lower back pain becomes stronger. In addition, the already short iliopsoas muscle goes into spasm, which leads to very severe lower back and pelvic pain. Let's go step by step. Now we know that this muscle should only be lengthened and stretched. Most importantly, it should not be engaged during abdominal training. Another short and spasmodic muscle is the quadratus lumborum. We will discuss it in exercises to stretch it. Let's summarize. We train the abs, the glutes, and the hamstrings, and we stretch and relax the iliopsoas muscle and the quadratus lumborum. The first exercise is aimed at strengthening the rectus abdominis, that is, the abs, without engaging the iliopsoas muscle. Lie on your back, knees bent, feet flat on the floor. Place your palms behind your head. Inhale, and on a full exhale curl your torso, bringing the lower ribs toward the pelvic bones. Hold for a few seconds at the top, additionally contracting the abs on the exhale, then smoothly return to the starting position. Repeat this 15 to 20 times. It is important not to rush and to lift yourself using your abs rather than strong arms. Therefore, it is better to support your head lightly with your fingers, directing your elbows to the sides, and be sure to perform a full exhale while contracting the abs at the top of the movement. After completing 10 to 15 repetitions, rest for 20 to 30 seconds. Return your palms to the back of your head and perform essentially the same crunch, but as you lift, direct one shoulder toward the opposite knee, slightly rotating the torso, again performing a full exhale, then switch to the other side. Do 10 repetitions on each side, which will total 20 repetitions. Do not forget to hold at the top for 1 to 2 seconds with a full exhale and abdominal tension. Then rest for 30 seconds. For the third exercise, turn over and get into a plank. At first, if your abdominal muscles are still weak, you can perform the plank from your knees. It is important to perform this exercise correctly. Otherwise, instead of benefit, you will get even more tension in the lower back. So, get onto your forearms, placing them directly under your shoulders. Support yourself either on your knees or on your toes, feet hip-width apart. Now maximally reduce the distance between the lower ribs and the pelvis, thereby flattening the lower back. And at this moment tighten your glutes. It is better to raise your pelvis slightly higher and not make a perfectly straight back line than to sag in the lower back and disengage the abs. In this position, that is, in the plank, hold for 30 seconds to 2 minutes as your abdominal muscles strengthen. For the first 2 to 3 weeks, I recommend performing this set of 3 ab exercises as a single round. That is, you complete it once and then immediately move on to the glutes. After a couple of weeks, it is best to perform 2 to 3 rounds with about 1 minute of rest between them. That is, complete 2 to 3 sets for the abs and then move on to the glutes. Glutes. Lie on your back. Position your feet at a distance from your glutes so that when you lift, there is a 90-degree angle at the knee joint. You can perform a glute bridge on 2 legs or increase the load by doing it on 1 leg. On 2 legs, perform about 30 to 50 repetitions. Yes, that many. If performing on 1 leg, do 20 to 25 repetitions on each leg. As you lift, press your entire foot into the floor without lifting the toes. This is also important, otherwise mainly the hamstrings will engage. It is important to posteriorly tilt the pelvis as you lift and perform the movement using the gluteal muscles. Conversely, keep the lower back flat, without engaging the back muscles. As before, at the top of the movement you need to feel the contraction, then return, lowering to the starting position without completely resting the glutes on the floor, keeping slight tension. After completing the exercise, rest for about 30 seconds and repeat 2 or 3 more times. That is, perform 3 sets on each leg or 3 sets on 2 legs. By the way, at home I use a sofa for this to increase the range of motion. Perform 3 sets of about 20 to 25 repetitions, alternating legs without using any pauses. Do the right leg, immediately the left, then again the right, and so on, 3 sets on each. Once again, it is important in this exercise to posteriorly tilt the pelvis and not lift yourself using the back muscles, but only the glutes. Please pay attention to this. Now we move on to stretching the iliopsoas muscle, which, as we remember, is a hip flexor. Kneel and take a wide step forward so that the front knee forms a 90-degree angle. If your knee hurts, fold the mat or place a towel under it. With one hand, grasp the foot and bring the heel toward the glute. Be sure to tighten the glute, and when stretching do not protrude the abdomen. Monitor this as well. We need to train it, not stretch it. In this way, we maintain a straight line between the torso and the thigh. Now with your free hand, for balance, rest on the floor or on your thigh. Hold this position for 1 to 2 minutes with deep, steady breathing. Then switch to the other side. I recommend performing this exercise after any workout. Simply include it in your stretching routine. If you cannot reach your foot with your hand, that is, if this exercise is difficult, make it easier. Lie on your stomach, bend your knee. Grasp your foot with one hand while tightening the glute, and bring the heel as close as possible. Hold this position for 1 to 2 minutes with breathing, and as flexibility increases, move on to the first stretching option, gradually making it more challenging. All that remains is to work on the quadratus lumborum. The simplest way is to lie on your back, pressing your knees to your chest, thereby relaxing the lower back, holding for 1 minute. But there is a more complex yet more effective method. Lower yourself to one side, bringing the front knee forward at 90 degrees. Do the same with the back leg, bringing it slightly forward. Rest your hand on the floor or on your thigh and raise the arm on the same side. That is, if the left leg is in front, raise the left arm upward and slightly lean toward yourself. In this way, reach through your fingertips, lengthening the entire side. Hold for about 1 minute. Then repeat on the other side. You can increase the range by moving the back leg farther backward, which will intensify the stretch slightly, but do this as your flexibility improves. These exercises are very easy to do at home. They absolutely will not take much time and can actually be performed anywhere. In the gym, at home, or while traveling. Recommendations. At first, for about a month, it is best to perform them every day for 1 set, regardless of morning or evening. Then you can switch to about 2 to 3 times a week, but perform 3 sets for the abs and glutes as I described, doing this only 2 to 3 times a week. If you have any serious pain, medical conditions, or joint problems, please consult your attending physician or see a doctor. That's all for now. I wish you beautiful posture and a healthy spine. Goodbye, and see you in the next videos.